Summer temperatures are huge in the UK. I've got a daughter living in London at the moment. It is really hot, but it's fair to say it's the BBC that's got the most heat over the handling of that ugly anti-Israel chant. It televised live at Glastonbury. We talked about it earlier in the week. News Corp's European correspondent Sophie Elsworth joins us now from a balmy London. Sophie, welcome. The BBC copped it, as they should have.
They certainly have, Steve. They've been in turmoil ever since this performance by Bob Vylan at Glastonbury on the weekend, where he called for those chants calling for the death to the IDF. Now, the BBC has been accused of handling this very poorly. They had 400 to 500 staff that were at Glastonbury, Steve, when this was aired. The Director General, Tim Davie, was also at Glastonbury when this disaster unfolded. And those comments that have been deemed highly offensive remained on BBC's iPlayer for up to 5 hours after the performer made these comments. So there's now questions being asked by the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, about how this happened. And there's also reports in the Daily Mail here in the UK today that the singer is also under another police investigation for offensive comments he made at an earlier performance at Alexandra Palace in May, so also relating to the IDF. So this is a giant mess for the BBC, and again, they are in damage control because there seems to be failures internally about how this aired and how it was allowed to stay on their platforms for hours afterwards.
Well, quite rightly, Sophie, the UK's chief rabbi has joined the criticism of the way the ABC handled it. What about the artists responsible? I mean, these guys, I think one of them has had a tour of Europe cancelled, but they've faced no serious sanctions beyond being dropped by their agent. They banned in the US, but ultimately, I guess there'll be some people who will want to pay to go and see these people because of their infamy.
Well, Steve, they had an enormous platform. The BBC, as we know, is mammoth. And so they went on air, they did their thing, they made these comments, they've gone viral now, and a lot of people may have never heard of these performers, and now many people do, rightly or wrongly, as a result of those offensive remarks that they did make. But how did this happen in the first place? It seems that the performers had prior claims of saying offensive remarks relating to Israel. And how was there no delay button, Steve? How was the fact that this was allowed to just go out there? And were the BBC staff asleep at the wheel? Because it appears so, because Tim Davie, the boss of the BBC, was there at Glastonbury. He was told about this and it remained on their platform. So this is hugely problematic for the BBC because they have been repeatedly called anti-Israel. They've been anti-Israel in their coverage of the war in Gaza and so forth. So this is just another black mark against their name.
Let's talk about the Princess of Wales. I mean, she's nothing if not honest, spoken very candidly about her cancer recovery, Sophie. The Princess conceded post-recovery at home has been difficult. What can you tell us about what she had to say?
Well, this is really interesting, Steve. The 43-year-old attended a cancer centre in Essex yesterday. Let's just have a listen of what she had to say.
We put on sort of brave-faced stoicism through treatment. Treatment's done. Yeah. So I can crack on and get back to normal again, but actually the phase afterwards is really, is a really difficult journey. You're not necessarily in the clinical team any longer, but you're not able to function normally at home as
a very raw account there, Steve, a very honest account. We haven't heard her talk a lot about her cancer battle. We know that she pulled out of Royal Ascot at short notice just a few weeks ago. She was announced in remission earlier in the year, but she has talked, Steve, about those battles post-cancer. and people just sort of expect you to get on with it. And she said that is really difficult, and that isn't the case, and support needs to be provided for people. So I think, Steve, these words of wisdom from Princess Catherine will be listened to by many people around the world, as many of us have people close to us who had their own cancer battles. So I think these comments are incredibly important for people to listen to know that her battle has been like many other people's battles with cancer.
Yeah, very well said, Sophie. You enjoy the sunshine. We'll catch up with you soon. That's Sophie Elsworth.